Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where or when you're listening to this. Welcome to another edition of Tackling Issues. On this week's edition, we select a Springbok 31-man squad who will face the British and Irish Lions next year's tour. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Keep a composure. Welcome to another episode of Tackling Issues. This week, we are putting together the 31-man squad that will face the British and Irish Lions next year in the tour, as long as it goes ahead. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it was tough to select, obviously, with all the stipulations and everything. But joining me as always, we got Jared.
How you doing, guys?
And Stuart as well. Back again. Stuart becoming famous on all the podcasts. So we're going to do position by position, same criteria as last week with British and Irish Lions. We'll do 17 forwards, 14 backs. And JJ, can you kick us off this week with your prop? Do you want to go with the full 5 props that you picked? Then
we can do that. I think we should let everyone know as well that we're obviously sticking to the rules that South Africa implements, which is the quota system. Sure. So we have also had to select 15 players of color that deserve to be there out of the 31. So we are picking to exactly the same format as what Russie will have to do and Jacques Nienaber next year. So my 5 props. So Stephen kicks off my number 1, Lucid. Oxen Chair as the backup, who will play off the bench for me. Will Kalo as my starting tight head. I know he's going to play for Harlequins, but still think he's the best tight head that South Africa has at the moment. My backup on the bench would be Thomas du Toit. What I like about Thomas is that he covers the loose head position as well, so he can play both positions, and that will help out during the World Cup, having that versatility. And then I decided to go with an extra tight head due to Thomas being able to cover one. And that is someone that I've always liked, and that's Max van Dijk, who's playing very good rugby for, is it Toulouse, with Ches and Colby? Am I correct in saying Toulouse? Yeah.
Yeah, Toulouse.
Yeah, so those are my 5.
Okay. Cool. Who did you go with?
I went Stephen Kitchoff starting loose, Ox backup loose, Volko Low starting tight. I actually went Vincent Koch as my backup tight.
On the bench?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as a backup tight, and then I went Chivin Yakanye as my swing. You could play tight and loose.
Oh wow! So no Thomas du Toit in your group?
No. He's good, and I rate him a lot, but no. I either have Thomas du Toit and drop Koch, and then I've got 2 swing props, which I don't mind having. I don't mind having 2 that can play loose and tight, and then I've got Kitchoff, Ox, and Low. But for just to have 1 sort of swing prop, I went with Trevor.
Yeah. So mine fairly similar. So my starting loose Stephen Kitchoff, backup on the bench, Oxen Chair. Starting, I also had Volko Low. So that's all three of us kind of were the same. And then Thomas the Toy, like Jared mentioned, he can play either position. And then my fourth prop, again, another swing, and that's Trevor Kane as my 5. But
Not a bad shot.
It's a fairly,
Okay.
it's a fairly similar one.
Two swings, which isn't bad. 2 loosies and 1 out and out tight.
Yeah,
That's cool. I like that.
I think it's fairly. I think it will be fairly straightforward. Well, Walker Low is probably the one that stands out in terms of the tight ends. Like for me, I mean Vincent Koch could, but I think he's better off the bench for me,
So,
or either having a Thomas the Toy coming off the bench who can play either position.
so the two that lose out, if we're going to select our group, the 5 players that'll play in our joint 31-man squad, the 5 props would then be
Koch and Max van Dijk.
Will lose out. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because
But
they
I
got
think
1 vote each.
Yeah,
I can concede Koch and put Du Toit there. So I'll have Kitchoff, Oxlow, Du Toit, and Trevor. I'll
think
think
not
Trevor for that.
Yeah,
that
Trevor's
5
been
is
playing well. I've never really rated Trevor, but he has been on form. And he had an unlucky injury at the World Cup, but yeah, he has played very good rugby, so I can't complain about having him in the squad at least.
Yeah, of late. That's why I had him. I think it's worthwhile to have the 2 swings.
So then so we know Kitsoff and we know Ox is on the bench at Lucid, and we know Wilker's starting, and then who plays off the bench then? Thomas was my backup, and he was also yours. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would probably go Inyagane for
utility.
go in. Yeah,
Well, both of them can play loose and tight. Both of them are probably better tighties than loosies, but they can still swing to the loose, which is fine. I would have to look at, because obviously with the quota, it's not just about the squad; it's about the starting team or the bench, or, the 23. So I would have to look at that before I could say whether I'm having Thomas or Trevor on the bench, just purely off the POC.
No, definitely. Because if there's injuries in other positions, you're gonna have to compensate for that.
Exactly. So at the moment, I'd go Kitchoff, Ox, 100% low, and then it would depend on POC whether it's the Toy or Trevor.
Do you think Rassi will see it as low being the starting tight end, or he's in love with
you're gonna go Malherbe like he did through the whole of the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
He rates France Malherbe. I think he's quite lazy.
It's a good scrummager, and that's about it.
But Lowe's a great scrummager, and he's got a lot of energy on the field, and he works his socks off.
And I think Vincent Koch is a lot more mobile on the park than Malherbe, and he scrums just as good.
Yeah.
So
yes,
for me,
I would not have France Malherbe in my squad.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have him. I wouldn't even be thinking of having him in the squad.
I agree.
I wouldn't say that to his face, but
I wouldn't say that to his face either.
You definitely don't.
I watch him I've watched him at Newlands for the whole of last year or whatever. Good scrummager, good player. Just for me, not Springbok material. Just off the back of his work rate on the field. When we don't have the ball, or even if we have the ball, I don't see him get stuck in. Just his work rate doesn't warrant him to be a Springbok.
I feel
Koch, the Toy, Inyakane, their work rate's massive, and they can all scrum just as well as him.
Yeah, and Max van Dijk's playing awesome rugby overseas. He chose that route to go overseas, and obviously hasn't been considered at all for Springboks. But also, we mustn't forget Kuni Oosthuizen. I think he's going to do well at Sale Sharks with all the other Sapper boys. He's another one. Yeah, there's a number of them.
I need to see more from Cooney because I think the first season that he was at the Sharks when he left Cheetahs, he was phenomenal, but then he just like dropped off. I don't know what happened, but he
everything's
dropped
been
off.
everything's been but stop-start for him at the Sharks with injuries and things like that. And Thomas had a spell where he was really on form. So
I think
I rate Thomas. I think Thomas is a very, very good prop. His work rate, his defense is excellent.
I think the youngster from the Lions is I think he's a province boy that's been loaned to the Lions is Carlu Sadi. Yeah, he's good. That boy's very good. Yeah,
it's another one.
I've never seen. He's got massive legs, man. He's
well,
huge.
Boko Low is built like a truck as well.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure of his age of Sadi.
He's born in '97, so he's pretty young.
Okay, so young, cool. Well then, at least we've got somebody for the future.
Yeah, like same age.
Coming.
Yeah, he played with all those boys, Bosch and Willemse and what's his name, Imbros Papi, part of that World Cup squad, junior squad.
She's got that junior experience, right? We'll see more of him. Jay, do you wanna? No, Jay, you started. Stuart, do you wanna give us your hookers?
Yeah, I went Mark starting hooker, Bongi backup, and Joseph Dwebe is my third.
Not bad.
Okay. JJ.
So obviously Marks. I think Marks is the world's best hooker at the moment. I just read a news article now. He's
used a deadline with him with the Lions.
He's used the clause. He's used the breakout clause, and he's left with a number of other players who we can discuss after this. But yeah, there's another good youngster that's left. It'll be interesting to find out where they're going because that wasn't highlighted. Definitely, Marks will be going overseas. But yeah, Mark's definitely my number one starter. Back up to him was really tough for me, but I ended up going with a guy that plays for the Sharks and has been really good this year, and that's Kieran van Vuuren. He's been playing great rugby and Super Rugby, so I think he deserves an opportunity, a look in. So definitely gone with him. Could have looked overseas, but decided to stick with homegrown talents, and then back up went with Joseph Dwebe as well. I know he's just signed for a French club I saw, which is very disappointing. Yeah. But it's a pity one of the Super Rugby teams couldn't snap him up. But still, I still think he's a great player. I think he's better than Bongi in my opinion. Bongi's been injured as well, so we'll see how he comes back from his injuries. But there's another chap that I was really tempted to put in there was Aka van der Merwe. Great impact player off the bench, but decided to stick with the homegrown boys, give them an opportunity.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Dwebe is incredible. He's such a strong ball carrier as well. I think experience is the reason why I chose him as the third choice. And I just think Bongi's got that experience. He played majority of the World Cup. He didn't disappoint. Yes, he's been injured. He got injured quite early on in the season, which is a huge blow for the Stormers. But I think from an experience perspective, I think Bongi's a great guy to come off the bench, especially against like a Lions tour where you need all the experience, all test match experience.
Yeah. I've gone with the same starting two as Stuart. Marks at 2, and then Bongi would be my second choice, if you will, and then my third squad player is the same as you, Jay, Kieran van Vuuren.
Okay, not bad.
I think he deserves a chance. He's been playing well for the Sharks, and he's been doing the business there. So I think it's time we give him a chance. But I think it's also, even if he doesn't get enough game time, if he gets a little bit of experience sort of in the squad setup and stuff like that,
No,
just
that's
get
good.
used to it.
Well, also number one we know is Marks. Number two, Bongi makes the number 2 spot then, because you've both chosen him as your backups off the bench, and then Van Vuren was my number 2, and your number 3. So
yeah, would have to be between Joseph
and
Dwebe
was
and
both our number 3s.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one, actually. That one we're gonna have to circle back to.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. But it's a good sign that we have quite a few hookers. Like Jay said, Aka. I had a debate
Aka's
between.
incredible. Yeah, I
So
also wanted to kind of stick with the homegrown folk.
Locks. I think the starting two we can move past. And then I think everybody. Well, it depends where you play one of them. But which one of you, Jay? Do you want to start off with the lock pairing?
Yeah, so I've gone with obviously Etzebeth at 4 starting for me, and then I've always made it very well known that I think Pieter-Steph should be playing at 5. He offers that mobility. He can cover 7 if need be, but I don't think we have many great number 5s in South Africa at the moment, and I think he would fit that mold. So Pieter-Steph plays at 7. I mean, at 5 for me, which then frees up a loose forward position. And there's so much talent in South Africa, and overseas. We've got players overseas too that can't even crack the squad that can play there. And I just think he won World Player of the Year, so he's can't be bad in that position. But I just think for us as a team, we need to put him in that 5 position because we don't have anyone there that's good enough in my opinion. My backup off the bench would be RG
Snyman.
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely Snyman off the bench. And then I've gone, and obviously it comes down to trying to fit in 15 players of color. And I've gone with a youngster that I think's got a lot of promise, and I think he could learn a lot on the Lions tour. And having that tour in South Africa, if there are any major injuries, we can call up some more experienced players. But I've gone with Salman Murat from Province.
Okay.
I think he's been playing great rugby.
Very good
Been given an opportunity at Super Rugby, and he hasn't disappointed. And he's captain South Africa. He's got leadership skills for a youngster, and he could grow from being in that squad. And I think. And there were others. There were some others. We can talk about it after you've said yours. But I just think it would be good for him to get some experience.
Stuart, who did you go?
I went Etzebeth, Pieter-Steph for 5. I went RG Snyman my backup 4, and I went Schinkeling as my backup 5. I was toying with Murat. I rate him big time, and I watched him a lot live at Stormers. He has done really well. I've just raked JD. I just think he's such a good rugby player. Gets stuck in. JD. He's also very, very loose as well. He carries balls well. His defense is brilliant. Good line-out jumper. Could he play at 7 if need be? I don't know. Maybe he's a bit too tall, but he's mobile enough for me to be happy for him coming off the bench when things are a bit scrappy and the game's a bit open. And you can pick up and bolt.
No, he's great. It was between him and Murat for me. And obviously due to quota system and take nothing away from it, it is what it is, and he's a great player. All 15 players of color that I've chosen are definitely deserve to be there. There might be some players that have more experience in them, but the players I've gone with so definitely Murat for those reasons, and it'll be a good learning curve for him. But JD, the guy's come back from a broken neck, and he's still playing. And I think he's definitely one for the future. Definitely would be in the mix. If we were choosing a bigger squad, he would definitely have been in there for me.
I went obviously Eben and Pieter-Steph as 4 and 5. RG Snyman off the bench, and Jay, I went with Solomon Murat as well.
Good one, man.
With the quota system player color, the 15 players of color, it's kind of swayed it, but like you said, he definitely deserves that opportunity to be in and around the squad. There's quite a few players that, well, not a few, but I got one or two that probably could have swung to it. The other one being Franco Mostard, who's tried and trusted. Not that I rate him, but I think Rassi, again, similar to the way Rassi does with Frans Malherbe, I think Rassi sees a lot Franco Mostard, and he can play that flank role as well. But I ended up with Solomon Murat.
Yeah, there's some really good youngsters, man. There's a Shark, the youngster from the Sharks. I forget his name.
JJ van der Mesh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I rate him.
Definitely.
I think it's a bit early for him next year, but I definitely think within by 2022 he'll be a Springbok.
If he wasn't injured this year, I think he would have got some opportunities to prove himself with the Sharks. But unfortunately, he's got some injuries. But there's also a few. There's also Jason Jenkins, who I think Jake White's trying to get back to the Bulls. There's a few. There's good youngsters around. Yeah, Maratz is definitely playing good rugby, so deserves a look in.
Yeah, no, big boy. He very good defensively. Makes a huge amount of tackles. Always up there in the teens. 12, 13, 14 tackles a game. You know, he's very good.
Yes, as for very, and I like the idea of Archie Snyman coming off the bench, the way he's
just that
so mobile,
power.
And so mobile. He's got a bit of flair to him. I think it's more his height that gives him that flair, but he'll just offload over your head or something like that.
Yeah, he's probably our best offloader in South African rugby.
Yeah,
I don't know how that dude does it, but he offloads like he's flipping Sonny Bill.
I think he watched lots of YouTube videos of Sonny Bill when he was young.
Must do, because the way he offloads is just for a lock. And I mean, he's got those like long legs with huge strides, and he just seems to be able to like pop these balls out of nowhere. Even while he's being tackled, he's releasing people. It's crazy. He's a very good rugby player and strong and aggressive. You know, like a proper four. He's a proper four.
Mm.
But I like the idea. Obviously, we have Eben, but I like the idea of him coming off the bench, especially if it's a game at high altitude. We spoke last week about Lions having a good backup to sort of replace of that 60-65 minute mark. But if you have Archie's name on to finish off a game, it's not a bad shot at all.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Loose forwards. Who went first for the next one? Who wants to start this one off?
I think Jay went with the lock, so I'll go with the loosies. I went Khaleesi.
Captain.
And captain, yeah. Marcel Coetzee and Vermeulen is my starting 6, 7, 8. I want to see Coetzee back in the Springbok jersey. He's still young. He's got so much experience. He's been overseas. And he's such a good rugby player. I love him. And then I've gone. It's a bit sort of controversial, but I went Creel as my backup 6. And I want to give Venter a go. I put Venter in my team.
Venter. Okay.
I really want to give Venter a go. It was a toss up between him and Jaco Coetzee for the Stormers, because Jaco can also play 8, but then Khaleesi could also play 8. Coetzee can also play 8. You know, if Vermeulen needs to go off.
Coetzee is actually playing 8 in Ireland.
Okay, yeah. And Jaco Coetzee has been playing 8 for Stormers, I think, for a lot of last season when Augustus was injured. And also, I think for the start of this season, the 6, 7 games that we've played, he's been pretty much the starting 8 for Stormers. So yeah, I think I'll bracket Venter and Jaco Coetzee, because I think they've both got a lot to offer. I've been absolutely gobsmacked with how well Venter is defensively. Of the small sample size that I've had this season, the 6 or 7 games the Sharks have played. So I will let you guys continue, because then we can sort of decide what to do from there. But it'll be Khaleesi, Kriel, Marcel Coetzee, Vermeulen as definites, and then I'm up in arms about Venter and Jakob.
So I went the same starting three as you: Khaleesi, Marcel Coetzee, and Dwayne Vermeulen. I went James Venter on the bench because he can come on and cover that 6th position, and Khaleesi can move to 7. And then Marcel can go off, or Vermeulen can go off, and Marcel can cover 8, or Khaleesi can cover 8. So there's a lot of versatility there. And then I've gone with Joano Augustus as a backup 8 to Vermeulen. And same as Morat, I think it'll be a good chance for him to get in the mix. And so far he's staying injury free, and his class is coming out. I've watched 1 or 2 games already where you can see his quality. Another one to get in there, and it'll be a good experience for him to be part of the squad.
You love these Stormers boys, don't you?
I love good rugby players, man.
Yeah. No, to be fair, Augustus has been one that I've watched for a long time now. He's still a youngster, but I've watched him for the best part of like 5 years. And
nice.
His injury record just it's very difficult for me to do this, because his injury record is just it's every single season he's injured like twice or 3 times in a season, every single season.
Yeah, but
there's no guarantee that this guy can play a full season of rugby.
So it's Billy Vunipola, and look how good he is. So
yeah, but that's Billy Vunipola now. That's not Billy Vunipola when he was, an up and comer. When Billy was an up and comer, he was a 80-minute every week guy, playing for Saracens, playing for England when it was Six Nations and other tours and stuff like that. Augustus is not. Unfortunately, I rate him. He's such a good rugby player. I find it very difficult. I find it very difficult for me to include him because of his history.
Yeah, he needs that stretch. It's maybe this period where everybody's taking a break and everything. We alluded to in one of the episodes. Maybe gives time for a lot of these players that are more injury prone to get a rest and to sort of freshen up and come back.
I'd love that. I would love him if Super Rugby continues. Well, we know the New Zealand one's going to continue soon, but if Super Rugby continues this year, I would love to see this dude do at least like 12 full matches in a season.
Yeah.
Not even 80 minutes, but like a good portion of like starting and coming off at like, maybe the late 60-minute mark or the early 70-minute mark, or going to 80 minutes or whatever. But I want to see him every single week playing minutes on the field without getting injured, without limping off, without, getting braces on his knees. That's all I want. And if he can do that for a season, then he will very much be in my plans, because I think he is very, very good.
No doubt. So my loose forwards, pretty much, I think it was a no-brainer. Khaleesi, Marcel Coetzee, and Dwayne Vermeulen, 6, 7, and 8. That would be my 6, 7, and 8. And then my backups, I also went with controversial, but Jakob, Kriel, as well Stuart. So I went with Kriel off the bench. I think we got a lot of players that can cover that 7 slot. So having Kriel there it's just a little something different. And then my extra, I went with Hachiva Diamani. Diamani.
Yeah, not a good.
As my player,
shot.
I think. Again, maybe I think it was let down by the Lions and things like that. But I think if he has a lot more game time, I'm not saying he hasn't had the game, but I think he stays injury free, he has a lot more game time. I think he's a player to watch. Definitely.
Cool. So we definitely need to come back to loose forwards as well as hookers. We know our starting 3 now is Khaleesi captain, Marcel Coetzee 7, and Dwayne 8. Stuart just needs to decide if he's going to
Go
stick with
with
Fencer,
Kitsia.
and then Fencer
Okay.
will be in the group, and then we'll have to discuss the extra. Otherwise, if you're not selecting Fencer, then that leaves 2 positions open.
Yeah, I'll start off my back line. Start off the back line, but the Scrum-half's number 9. The 3 I put on the page immediately, and it's probably the 3 I'll take. One, unfortunately, that probably will miss out. You guys might, but the 3 I went with, obviously Faf starting, and then off the bench Herschel Janchis, and then I went with Ambrosio Papier as my. I think if touch wood, if Faf something happened to Faf, and then Janchis would be more than able to fill that 9 jersey, I think, from the go. But I think having a player like Papier off the bench, then if Faf was injured, would be really nice. But the other player that probably I'd mention is Kobus Reinach.
Okay.
But anyway, Jay, what did you have as your 9s?
Yeah, there's not much more to say. I've done exactly the same as Monet. So yeah, Faf and Janchis with Papier on the bench, in the mix, and then unfortunately Kobus Reinach loses out, and due to the fact he's playing overseas, and Papier is a player of color and a player of color with tremendous potential. So
Good quality,
yeah. So I find it hard just to leave guys that are home based playing well and deserving an opportunity. So Faf is world class. I think we've all classed him as our world's best 9. So he has to make it. Kobus has been playing sensational rugby, but unfortunately, we've got some really good up-and-coming youngsters that deserve a look. And Janchis is probably pushing hard to be in the top 3 in the world. So he deserves to be there. And then Ambrose Papier's done nothing wrong, in my opinion. He had when he played for South Africa in the end of year tour, I thought he played really well. And then unfortunately for him, Janchis had a phenomenal Super Rugby season and took his opportunities in the Springbok jersey and hasn't looked back. And Rusty's gone with Kobus's experience overseas and he's played well. So he hasn't had an opportunity. There's been no injuries for him to come in. I do think he's Rusty's number 4 choice. So and that's Papier. So yeah, I'll go like Mornay. So let's see yours, Stuart.
Stuart?
Yeah, no, exactly the same. Faf's number 1, Janchi's number 2, Papier number 3. I was toying with the Sharks boy.
I
thought, let's just chuck him in there, give him a bit of, experience because he is a very good rugby player.
By the way, we're not talking about Louis Schroeder, right?
No, we're talking about Noambe.
Noambe, yeah.
Oh, Masanela.
Yeah, I think he's very good.
Oh, he's definitely going to be a Springbok.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I was thinking, well, there's no real benefit of not putting Papier in. It's not like I need to exclude him for a player of color and his experience. And like you said, Jay, he's done absolutely nothing wrong. He's been a solid rugby player. And I rate him. I think he's very good. He's got a good kicking game. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's strong enough. He's good defensively. He reads the game well. Obviously, Faf is number 1 in the world. Janchis is close to the top 3 in the world. So Papier does just end up being my 3rd choice, with Noambe being sort of on the fringes. If one of those folks get injured, then he would be my first one that I draft in.
Yeah,
that's why definitely. I said it's if touch wood, if Faf does get injured, like I think I won't be upset with the fact that we're starting with Janchis and having Papier off the bench.
We've got some good quality youngsters.
No, we do. We have a lot. Even that Stormers boy, what's his name? Godwin.
Was back up.
Godwin something. He's also solid scrummy. I like him. I need to watch more of him. He needs to get a bit more game time, but I do like him.
Yeah, he's been around for a while, but he's good. He's still very young as well. But no, he's good. Yeah. And also, Papi's also got experience now of covering for FAF in the World Cup. He covered for FAF at Sail Shark, so he picked up some experience there too.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
So yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, Reinhardt misses out. I think just off the back of we've got enough youngsters that are good enough, and we don't need to sort of draft a dude that's kind of going towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
How old Reinhardt now? Did he?
29. It's not that old.
Okay. No, it's not that old.
But,
He's still quite young.
But I think it definitely be, like Jay said, probably Reinach is Rassi's number 3 and Papier is his 4. But I'd like
he's done
to
nothing
see,
wrong, Reinach, to be dropped from that position.
No,
but...
he hasn't. It's just preference, and I think having maybe, like you said, that homegrown sort of, or the players that are in South Africa, they're there, they're ready to go. They have.
I think they deserve the opportunity.
Yeah, they have they've worked for that right to be in the squad. So they've done nothing wrong to be there. So fly-offs. Again, I know probably the one will be straight on the page, but it's interesting to see who is your second. Jay, who did you go with?
Yeah, so I've gone with Andre Pollard. I know he's playing overseas now, and he's playing at Montpellier. And he's the richest rugby player in the world at the moment. I don't know if he's going to have a salary cut, but definitely Pollard. I thought he had a very good World Cup. I think he's an underrated fly half, and I think he goes about his business just like Butch James used to do. People don't realize how good he actually is, because we all name our squads, and we still don't have him in the mix there as in the top 2, or did we have him in the top 3? I'm not sure, but he's definitely.
Yeah,
I think we had him at 3, but
yeah, we had him at 3.
But he's brilliant, man, and he's a real team player with leadership, and he's not flashy like some of the other fly-offs or Barrett or Finn Russell. Yeah.
Barrett's not
Finn
flashy.
Russell. I thought Finn Russell was at 3.
Brilliant. No, Finn Russell came a bit later.
But
I like Finn Russell, but I'm not going to put him in my top 3 fly halves of the world.
Yeah, we go with
definitely Pollard, and then I've gone with the youngster Kerwin Bosch. Massive boot on him, and I just think fly-half is his position. He can cover fullback, but he needs to be able to run the back line and be the general and marshal his troops. He's good, man, and that's what he's shown it now by being given the opportunity at the Sharks, and I just hope he, from a domestic level, I hope him and Sanella can build a great partnership now at 9-10. And yeah, definitely have him in the mix. I don't know if I'll have him on my bench all the time in the Springbok team. We'll get to the other positions just now, but definitely if Pollard gets injured, he will be in line to start the next match.
Stuart, I take it from your approval that you had the exact same.
Yeah, I had Pollard starting, Bosch as my bench. I've had this debate with you guys and myself actually quite a few times between Bosch and Willemse. I just think Bosch is he controls the game a lot better than Willemse. I know Willemse is a bit more flashy, a bit more steppy, but Bosch, I think his game management, his maturity on the field, the way he leads. I mean, he's done so well with the Sharks. I'm so glad that nepotism is out of the Sharks now.
Would you have him start on the bench ahead of Willemse?
It depends, to be honest. I wouldn't necessarily have him starting every single game. I'd have Pollard as my starting 10 for all 3 games. It would really be down to sort of the situation and stuff like that. Whether I'd have I'm not always a huge fan of having a out and out backup fly half.
Yeah, me too.
Because there's so many players that can play fly half, and if it's for 20 minutes, and it's somebody like Willemse coming on and getting a bit of flair, I don't mind that. I honestly don't mind that. I don't need another, like, for the last 20 minutes, somebody that's going to be, just a solid fly half. I need that for the majority of the game, but for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, I need flair. I need something different. I need, a new game plan.
I think
Then
Williams
I'll probably bring
offers that
one.
more than Bosch.
Yeah.
So
Well,
for me,
the
Bosch.
thing. Sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was just saying that it's obvious that Pollard's gonna run all 3 test matches, and he's probably gonna play all 3 80 minutes if where possible. Unless we're running away with the game. But I think, again, injury wise and things like that, if stuff does break down, Bosch would be the only one that I would think of that has the same composure. Yes, like Stuart said, a good head on his shoulders. He's playing great rugby, and he would step into the 10 shirt then as a starter.
I just think Bosch would be my only other choice starting 10.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
me
start
too.
Willems at 10. So Pollard gets injured, Bosch is my starting 10.
Yeah,
100%.
sure. But I would have Bosch. I would have Willems starting on the bench all the time.
On the bench, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Pollard and Kerwin in the same team unless there were injuries and I had to have Bosch on the bench. I just think.
Yeah.
I think Bosch, like you say, he's a starter. So definitely for me, Willems would play off the bench. But yeah, is that what you went with as well?
No, I went Pollard and Janchis. Of course I didn't. Of course I went Pollard and Bosch as my 10s. But I have that
I'd rather have Herschel Janchis as my backup 10 than flipping Elton.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put I really didn't want to put like you said, I didn't want to put Bosch from the bench but if you're taking 2 fly-offs in your squad, it's gonna be Pollard and Bosch. Per se. Stuart, who did you go with for your centers?
Centers. Oh, okay. I went starting
This was a
inside.
tough one, eh?
This was tough, but I went starting inside Janssen van Rensburg.
Okay. Rowan Janssen van Rensburg.
Yeah, Rohan Janssen van Rensburg.
Yeah.
I went starting outside center Serfontein, Jan. And then my backup outside center is Similani. And I went back up inside center. I went actually with Esterhuizen.
Okay. It's quite interesting. Completely different.
It was tough for me because, I mean, Am's done nothing wrong. To be fair, Dalende's done nothing wrong. I just think I like Van Rensburg a lot. And I think we need to utilize him more because he's such a good ball carrier. He can play inside and outside. Serfontein can play inside and outside. Similarly, I think he's such a good outside center, and he's going to be. He has to be a Springbok. I rate him so much.
Yeah, and Janssen van Rensburg can play wing if you need him to as well. If you need him to.
Yeah,
and so can Similani.
I think Similani as a ball carrier for a 13 is incredible. His defense is good. He's so strong. Organization probably needs a bit of work, but he needs a bit more game time at Super Rugby level to do that. I flirted with Am. He's a solid 13, solid outside center. He's good defensively. I don't know. He just doesn't wow me. He's not a wow guy for me, and I just didn't. I couldn't fit him in. I like Esterhuizen, and if Van Rensburg's injured, I need another big, strong, direct ball carrier. And having somebody like Esterhuizen is a pretty good choice in my opinion. I love Francois Venter. I couldn't fit him in, but I would have liked to have had Francois Venter somewhere in the mix because I do rate him.
Yeah,
but
very underrated.
Yeah, but ultimately I could only choose 4, and it was Van Rensburg, Serfontein, Similani, and Esterhuizen.
Oh, Jay, who did you go with?
So yeah, I went with I know Stuart likes to play Janssen van Rensburg at 12, but I prefer him at 13. Played a lot in that position when he was younger, and I just think he offers more in that position, in my opinion. But I've gone with Jan Serfontein at 12. Also, the fact that he played a lot with Pollard at Bulls, and he also plays with Pollard now at Montpellier, so that understanding they have with each other will be good to take into the British Lions tour.
Has he moved back to 12?
Yeah, he's playing 12.
Montpellier.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's played 12 for a long time now. I don't know where you've seen him playing 13, but Frans Steyn. Steyn's been playing 13.
12 and he was playing 13.
No, Frans Steyn plays 13 for Montpellier. They shift around a bit, but he's been playing 13.
Yeah, they shift a lot.
But yeah, definitely Serfontein at 12, Van Rensburg at 13. I've got Similani, who I can't say much more than what Stuart's already said. Brilliant player, one for the future. Reminds me of a young Brian O'Driscoll. That's how much I rate him. And then really do like Andre Estesen, but obviously due to the quota system and trying to get 15 players of color in the squad, I've had to go for someone that I don't normally rate, but and that's Damien Dialende. He has, same as Trevor and Yakane, they're two players, I'll be honest, that I've never really rated that much, but Damien had an amazing World Cup, and he's done nothing wrong since that World Cup. So Damien makes it for me. And then like Stuart said, very unlucky. Francois Fenter, one that I've always rated. Jesse Creel, another one that I really, really like. I like his versatility, but yeah, unlucky. But yeah, so Damien makes it for me instead of Estesen. Would have been very close. He would have been the next one for me.
Damien could well make it, obviously, depending on the POC of what we come up with at the end. I went for I went for a bit in the forward pack. So I went like Bongi and Yakane and Dwebe. But yeah, no, I mean, I
think
you know
Damien
my feelings with Damien. I rate him, Stormers boy. I've had him in my Super Rugby team for most of the time that he was playing for the Stormers. I always had him in my fantasy team. Good ball carrier, good with the offload. Defensively, it needs work. I don't know his stint overseas. I don't think he got to play much, to be fair, overseas before this coronavirus lockdown. But I think defensively
he's going to Ireland now.
He needed some work. Yeah, it just depends on how much game time he's going to get.
Is he going to play with CJ Stander at Munster? Yeah, he's joined Munster.
Yeah, I believe so.
It is.
I'd like him to get game time. I'd like him to work a little bit more on his defensive capabilities. As a ball carrier, you can't fault the guy. He's big, he's strong. He carries about 2-3 people with him. He can offload. He's got good vision. He's got good pace.
I think he's Russie's number one. I think he's the starter for the Boks. Morning, let's hear yours, man.
Damien missed out on mine as well. But again, Jay, you just hit the nail on the head. I think he's gonna start for the Boks. He's done nothing wrong in a Boks shirt, so you can't fault him for that. But for mine, the starting twos, I've gone Serfontein at 12, Jan Serfontein at 12, and then I've actually retained Lukanya. He's done nothing wrong in that 13 jersey. He's World Cup winner. We spoke about him a week ago, about the way he organizes in that 13 role. His defense is good. So there's a lot of players, but I stuck with him. And then the other two I went with is Andre Estesen as my backup inside, and Similani. Wandisile, sorry. Wandisile Similani as my backup.
You not having Rowan Janssen van Rensburg in your team?
No, I didn't. I left him out. That's again, it's maybe the POC that I had to leave him out, and I kept on. But
I think you've got Steve Hansen glasses on.
But it was difficult.
You ignoring Lau Mapi, basically. he is our version of Lau Mapi. Like you don't.
He is indeed. I'm not disputing that. He is indeed, but I don't know. I just Serpentine, and we look at the centers of the British. I'm thinking of the centers of the British and Irish line. Tuolangi and Davis
He is
running at them, and
he is our
Yeah,
version of Tuolangi.
yeah,
he's our
he's
version
our
of Tuolangi.
version. No, I'm not disputing. I know he will be in and around the squad. So I'm not knocking him, but that's the squad that I went with. He was the first name that I put a special mention if nobody else mentioned him, but I thought there's no chance that you guys are gonna leave him out.
No,
But yeah,
he's my starting inside center. I know Jay rates him more outside, which is cool, and I like him at outside. I want him to be the first ball carrier. I want him to get the ball as early as possible
I suppose you're right.
and run straight and take 2-3 oaks with him and create momentum for the back line, create overlaps in the back line, because that's what he is so good at doing.
Did you
Same
say
with
you'll have
Esteh's and
Serpentine at
same with
13?
Lende.
Did you say Serpentine at 13 then?
I'd have Serpentine at 13, or I'd have Similani starting at 13, to be honest. I rate him that much that I think he could start.
I don't know how solid those two would be as a centre pairing on defence.
Van Rensburg
Yeah.
and Similani.
Yeah, I wouldn't risk it against the Lions. I'd have Similani on the bench.
It's a tough one.
so toss-up might be another one that it looks
But
like
what's so good about having Van Rensburg and Serpentine, I would have Van Rensburg as inside centre when we have the ball, and I'd have him at outside centre when we don't have the ball.
Yeah, exactly. They can interchange.
Yeah, I just think Van Rensburg, the earlier he gets the ball in his hands with forward momentum, the better for South Africa. And if defensively he's better at 13, then when we don't have the ball, you can easily slot into that outside centre position and control the defense from there, and have Serpentine as inside centre for that period, which I'm happy with.
It looks like those two would probably be starting for us. Esteh's is another one that's widely named, and I think probably because of the player of the car. Well, we all had Similani, didn't we?
Yeah.
Am I incorrect? Is that correct, Jay? You had Similani
No,
as
we
well?
all had him. Yeah, I rated big time.
We all had 17, we all had Similani, so we've got to come back to that. Let's come back to that.
Yeah,
no worries. And then outside backs, Jay, you can start with outside backs.
Outside backs, I've chosen 5. Not sure how they're going to start for me. It's very difficult.
5.
But the 5 I've chosen is Damien Delenda, Warwick Galant as my fullbacks. Damien obviously covers fly off if need be.
Damien Willemse.
You mean
Damien
Willemse?
Yeah, Damien Willemse, sorry. And Warwick Galant as my fullbacks, with Warwick is the out-and-out fullback for me. He can cover wing if need be, but then you've got Damien who can cover 12 or 10. So Damien definitely be on the bench for me. And then I've got Cheslin Colby. I think he's the world's best right wing at the moment on form. Left wing, I've gone with Spur Corsi. Big, strong. He started his career at the Sharks in that position and had to move for, we think it's some Volvo, I think it was. He had to move to right wing to accommodate Volvo.
Yeah.
Obviously would have liked to have had a Pee-wee Deontay in the mix, but don't know where we stand with him. But the other chap I've gone with, and it's the form that he's on, and the form he's on now, would probably be a starter at fullback for me, and that's Apelele Fassi.
Yeah.
I think he's playing such good rugby that it'd be hard to not give him that 15 jersey.
Yep. No, I agree 100%.
But those are my 5, yeah. So not sure who besides Cheslin and Spoo as my wings. I'm not sure who will be the starting fullback and who will play off. I know Damien will play off the bench, so it's between Warwick and Fassi.
And Fassi is your starting fullback.
Probably Fassi, because Galant hasn't done too much this Super Rugby competition and hasn't had much game time at Springbok level. So
incredible.
Fussy would have to be Fussy then, yeah.
Yeah, well, I had Colby, Nkosi, and Fassi as my starters, and I had Willemsen, Galant as sort of outside backups, if you will.
Yeah, so same as me basically, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Colby can cover wing or fullback, and Nkosi can cover both wings. Willemsen can cover. I just had him really as fullback with fly half. I think we got enough sort of centers that you wouldn't need to slot in there. I have Fassi as my starting fullback, and I have Galant as my backup fullback. Fassi can also throw himself on the wing. Galant can also throw himself on the wing. He's played wing. I believe he's played wing for Springboks.
Yeah, he has. He has too.
So
he's actually started.
Yeah.
He actually
That's
started.
right wing, I believe.
He started the match in that position, yeah, and he played pretty good.
Yeah, look, he's a big boy.
And he's another one, like Ambrose. He's another one that's done nothing wrong at Springbok level. Just unfortunately had some good youngsters coming through, and a good example is Fassi now. I think Fassi is going to jump ahead of him again.
Yeah. Well, from what Fassi's shown this Super Rugby season, he's definitely the out-and-out best fullback that we have in the country.
Mornay, any changes from me and Stuart?
No. No changes whatsoever.
So that tells you something.
Makazolo Mapimpi. No. He's gonna go. Like I have to mention it. My 5 is exactly the same as both of you. Obviously, I'm not gonna leave Damien out of the team. But I think Rassi really he's done really well in the Springbok jersey, as much as we probably can see 3 or 4 better players better than him, but Mapi is probably going to hold on to that 11 jersey.
I think on attack he's brilliant. Defense, I don't think he's that great. I think he's taking his opportunities.
Sorry, if George North is running at you,
exactly.
I'd feel much safer.
Solid in defense.
I'd feel much safer. Super.
Exactly. I feel safe with Colby on the field, man. And look how small he is.
But Colby would be my starting right wing, and Nkosi would be my starting left wing. Fassi would be my starting fullback.
Yeah. But I think special mentions to. I know he hasn't had much game time, but I rate that guy. He's another one that's just never been given opportunities, and that's for me. That's Sinatla.
Yeah,
really like Sinatla.
I was toying with him because I haven't been impressed with Galant at all this year, and even last year didn't play that well Super Rugby level wise. I rate Sinatla big time.
And then
the thing is, I needed somebody else to cover fullback because I don't want Colby covering fullback.
No. And then also,
go.
No, just a quick one. I think Tyrone Green, fullback wing. He is one of the four. He's one of the 4 that's asked to be released immediately from the Lions. So it'd be interesting to know where he's going. Pretty sure it's overseas. Another one is Madosh Tambwe. The guy's been phenomenal when he's had his opportunities and come off the bench for Sharks. I think it's been a good move for him. And were there any other wings? I think that's it, really. Yeah.
Gio Apollon.
Yeah.
27-year-old coming back to the Bulls. I don't know what Jake White's thinking there. I don't know how he's gonna.
Well, we all said the same. We all said the same about Scott Brits.
Yeah, so, that's true. Well, the thing is,
Scott,
I don't know if any of you have been following Apollon over like wherever he's been, but I haven't. Or he hasn't.
In France, and he was incredible in France. Some of the tries that Derek scored while he was in France was unreal. Because the step that he has, the pace, the low sort of center of gravity. He really is good. He's 37 years old. He's not.
Are you talking now? Are you talking now, or are you talking?
Yeah,
back then?
He was scoring some good tries, like maybe a year ago, maybe 2. And then he's left and gone to a smaller French club. But I think
maybe
he's small and he's fit. He's different. He's small and fit, man. I think he could still offer some good impact for the Bulls and some leadership. So we'll see. Jake Watt's not an idiot. He obviously sees something in him. I wish he had seen something in him when he was coach, or was he not around then? He would have been
No, he
around.
was around. Yeah, he would
He
have
would
been.
have been around, yeah.
Yeah.
Here
It's
at
just,
one.
I think he would have
But,
been
A
very
lot
young
of
though.
these oaks. I just can't help but just see Willemse as like another Lambie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Somebody
you
that's
don't
just always
know.
going to be a bench player because
He's so
for his
versatile.
positions, there are people that are better than him,
Mm.
aren't better than him in those specific positions, but for his versatility off the bench, him, Lambie, Franstein, you can't unfortunately put them in a position because you never know what's going to happen on the field. And
Yeah.
10 gets injured, you've got one of those three that could come on. 12 gets injured, you got one of those three. 15 gets injured, you got one of those three. And then with Franstein, even more so, you had him at 10, 12, 13, or 15.
So disappointed with Damien though, because it looked like he was gonna be that new number 10 for us. Sorry, at the time, Kerwin was playing at fullback for the Sharks, and it looked like Damien was gonna be the 10. Then he got injured, disappeared for a while. Kerwin moved to 10, and everything was going well. And when Damien came back, he was doing so well at 15. You thought, oh yeah, he could possibly take at 15 role. Got injured, and plus he showed up for the Sharks, and since then he's never been like now you say. We don't know what position he's gonna fall in.
But let's see, because a lot of players have their second year syndrome. So let's hope that it is that for him and that he comes back firing. It's happened to Kerwin. Kerwin wasn't as good as he was in the first year, and yeah, injuries take effect. But let's hope he comes back with a bang. And
Well, I'd
and even
like
if
to take this.
going to be the bench player for Springboks for next year or two, few years, you can't complain being back up to Pollard and being in the mix. So I think it's exciting, man, to see all these youngsters coming through and youngsters that are players of color and deserve it. It's we look forward to the day they get rid of that shit quota system, because it's not needed.
It's not needed, no, because I've been like nearly all my backline players I picked without even thinking about anything other than ability. I didn't pick Bassi because of his color. I picked him because he's the best fullback South Africa has at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think
and
I would be able
Nkosi
to.
and Colby and Similani, I rate that guy so much that I didn't pick him because of anything other than his ability to play rugby.
I don't think I'd be able to choose a white fullback for many years. There's just so many great young players of color to choose there. Even Colby would be the next would step in ahead of any other young white fullbacks. The other guy was Green, but he's going overseas now. I'm pretty sure he's heading overseas. So it's amazing. And you look, our special mentions are Sinatla, Madash Tambwe, and then even a Piwe Diante who's suspended. There's just amazing talent. And then Mabimpi, who we all know is probably going to be there still. So there's so much talent.
It's crazy.
So we need to choose our sense. Should we go senses backwards? We need to do senses, loose forward, and hooker.
If we go from the beginning, from prop upwards, and we'll just build a match day 23.
Okay.
Pretty much got all your squads. Obviously, I think all of us had 1 and 3. Our starting props at Lucid and tight at Kitchoff and low. That's 100%. And backups, Oxenchair as your 7. Your 18. Yeah, your 18 would probably be.
I'd go Thomas du Toit.
I'd say Thomas du Toit.
Thomas du Toit would be your 18 then. Can play either. Malcolm Marx.
I think Trevor's the swing.
Trevor's the swing, yeah.
Malcolm Marx would be your starting hooker, and then backup. We both win Bongi.
Both win Bongi, so Bongi makes backup. Well, we know this. We need to discuss the backup hooker.
So my vote will go to Dwebe.
Well, both of you went Dwebe, so it looks like I went Van Vuren as well.
I went Van Vuren as my number 2. So for me, Van Vuren would make it ahead of Dwebe.
Okay, so Borage, your vote counts.
Well, I went Van Vuren as my
Then Van Vuren's the third choice.
So then our lock pairings, all of us agreed, Eben and Pieter-Steph, 100%.
Yes.
Ergers
Yes.
Neyman coming off the bench, and then both myself and Jay went Solomon Murat.
So that's
Stuart,
that's
you tossed up
I
JD
went
Schikkeling,
Schinkeling, so we'll go Murat. So that's
Murat.
4.
Then loose
Stuart
forwards.
needs to quickly decide if he's keeping Fentog or Butsia.
Yeah.
Before
Okay,
we move on.
So we've all agreed on Khaleesi, Marcel Coetzee, and Vermeulen as the starting.
100%.
And then Jay's got Augustus and Fenter. Mornay, you've got Creel and
Diamani,
and I've got Creel and either Fenter or Coetzee, so I'll go Fenter.
Well, if you're going Fenter, then that's it. Then it's Fenter and Creel as the other 2.
That's the backups, yep. So it will be Khaleesi, Marcel Coetzee, Dwayne,
Vermeulen,
and then
Creel and Fenter.
Yeah,
yep.
very good.
Not bad
very
at
good.
all. We all 3 got the same Scrum-half, so there's no need to talk about it. Faf de Klerk, Herschel Janschis, Ambrose Papier, Pollard and Bosch as our fly-offs. And then centers, Rowan Janssen van Rensburg and Jan Serfontein will obviously start. Looks like it. Serfontein definitely makes it, and you guys, we all had one Desile. Why do I keep getting stuck? I tried to say his name in one. Yeah, Sumilani. So the other one would be probably a backup. I went Esterhazen as backup inside. And
I'll concede Esterhazen for Dalende.
Jay, who did you? Oh, you mean you leave Esterhazen and put Dalende in?
Yeah, so I'll go Van Rensburg, Serfontein, Dalende, and Sumilani.
Okay.
Same as
Jay,
me.
you concur?
Yeah,
that's what you got. That's exactly what you got. And then our back 5, we all got the same. So that's Sibu Nkosi, Cheslin Colby, Apelile Fassi, Damon Willemse, and Warwick Khalat.
I think that leaves us with only 13 players of color.
No, that leaves us with 15.
Does it?
Yeah, Ox,
okay.
Trevor, Bongi, Murat, Khaleesi, Janchis, Papier, Bosch, Dalende, Similani, Colby, Nkosi, Willemse, Khalan, Fassi, 15.
So that's your squad, and we've kept to the POC. Fantastic.
So starting lineup?
Starting lineup would Kitchoff and Lowe as 1-3. Your starting hooker would be Malcolm Marks. Your locks would be Eben and Pieter-Steph Toy at 4 and 5. Your 6, 7, and 8. Khaleesi, Marcel Coetzee, Dwayne. And then your 9 would be Faf de Klerk. Your 10, Andre Pollard. Your 12, Rowan Janssen van Rensburg. 13, Jan Serfontein, or either or, whichever way you guys want to put it.
Yeah.
Just have them run out with no numbers. Sibu Nkosi at 11, Cheslin Colby at 14, and Apelile Fassi at 15.
What a starting 15.
That's a great starting.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid starting 15.
And then off the bench, you have you'll have Bongi running off the bench. Experience your Oxen chair,
yeah.
What a player to come off the bench.
Really good front row.
Yeah.
And then Thomas Toy as well. Your backup lock, Ergers Neyman. And the player on the bench would then have to be a toss-up with Jaco Kriel and James Venter. Who would you throw on the bench?
I'd probably go Creel for experience. Even though I didn't choose him, he was on my radar. And it was between him and Fenter. I was only going to go with one of them. And I just think Fenter's been playing a lot of rugby recently and playing well. Creel's come back from overseas. But it's only next year. So it'll be a tough one. But I'd probably go Creel for experience. Definitely
I'd say Creel
in the
I'd
first
say
match,
Krill,
definitely.
yeah. Also because his ball carrying ability and incoming when like I said before, the game's a bit open, a bit scrappy, bit of tired legs on the field. This
And
guy
he's
coming
fast.
on and running like a backline player. Yeah, no.
He offers that.
I-
I think Fence is more of a starter, so definitely Creel, yeah.
Then Herschel Janches as your backup. Faf de Klerk. Then interesting, who would we pick as our 22 and our 23? Because we all said we wouldn't stick with Bosch. So would this be where Damon Willemse gets
Yeah, I'd
Gets
say
the 22
Willemse
shirt.
definitely, and I'd say
I'd go
Similani.
Similani
I'd
23?
go
It's
Similani and
exactly what I
Willemse
was
on
thinking.
the bench.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd do that.
Yeah.
Although
Just in
Damien,
between Van Rensburg and Serpentine, both of them can play 13. Both of them can play 12. So if Similani comes on, whoever comes off he'll go to 13, and whoever else was on will switch back to 12.
that's yeah. I think Damien will end up being in the mix, but Damien D'Alenda will be in the mix, but that's my preferred senses would be those three in that order.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, I agree.
I think a squad's quite a strong squad.
If we were looking at this, like if we were Rassi, I think a lot of these players wouldn't be
No.
in the mix.
Well, we might have
people like Ox, Van Vuren, Murat, Kriel, Kutsia. I don't think Van Rensburg, Serpentine. I don't think Fassi. I'd really like Fassi to be in the mix, but I don't think he will be, not yet.
I think he will. I think Fassi will be in the mix.
I really hope he will be.
I think he's done enough to be in the mix this year. I think
all of these guys have. I think Fassi's done enough. I think Bent has done enough. I think Ox has done enough.
I think Ox has had a great Super Rugby season so far. With the beast gone, I think he'll make it. I think.
I love the fact that he's playing Super Rugby again, and not like hanging in the.
I don't think Joseph Dwebe will make it.
I don't think Dwebe will be in the conversation.
I don't think. I think Kieran Van Vuren has a chance.
I think so, because I mean, who is going to be the third choice? Because we know Mark's is starting, or Bongi's starting, and Mark's on the bench, or Mark's starting Bongi on the bench, because we know those two are the standard two hookers for South Africa.
Yeah.
Who would be the third choice?
Retired, so it leaves.
Skulkbrit is retired. It's not going to be. I don't think Skara will be in the mix.
Skara was the other.
If he brings Bismarck in now.
No.
I think it's too late.
I think Van Vuren's the only other one that you can actually have in conversation.
Well, there you have it. If you're enjoying the content we're putting out, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to leave a like. See you guys next week.